Ladies and gentlemen, let me share something with you. There's a special kind of strength in a woman who has been broken but chooses not to stay that way. Life can be rough. People leave. Dreams fall apart. But a strong woman, she rises. She brushes herself off and starts rebuilding, slowly and steadily. Brick by brick, piece by piece. She learns that relying on herself is real power. The moment she understands that she holds the power to shape her own future, everything starts to change. Life isn't always kind. People can walk out without warning. Promises can be broken. And sometimes, those we believed would stay forever simply leave without a second look. But a strong woman doesn't sit around waiting for someone to rescue her. She doesn't stay stuck in the ruins of what used to be. She looks around, gathers the broken parts, and begins again. Because deep down, she knows that if she doesn't do it, no one else will. It's not easy. There are sleepless nights full of doubt. There are moments when she feels weak and helpless. Days come when giving up seems like the easiest option. But still, she moves forward. Not because it's easy, but because she knows she must. She starts to trust herself more. She learns to make decisions without asking for anyone's approval. She leans on her own inner strength. And with time, she comes to a powerful realization. She doesn't need anyone's permission to live the life she dreams of. Being independent isn't just about surviving tough times. It's about growing through them. A strong woman doesn't just get by. She builds a life that brings her pride. She sets goals, works hard, and reaches them. She doesn't wait for applause because she already knows her value isn't determined by others. She defines her worth on her own terms. There are women out there who faced storms and walked through fire. They've lost everything: money, love, confidence. Yet, they still stand tall. These are the women who inspire others. Not because their paths were easy, but because they refused to let pain defeat them. They started from nothing, relying only on faith and the will to rise again. Pain teaches, but it doesn't have to trap you. Every hardship, every setback, every heartbreak carries something important to learn. A strong woman doesn't view her pain as a curse. She sees it as a lesson that helps her grow. She doesn't let it break her spirit. She allows it to sharpen her strength. Pain changes people. But the strongest women turn that pain into power and become even better versions of themselves. She learns patience when her plans fall apart. She develops strength when life knocks her down. She gains wisdom when she realizes not everyone is meant to stay in her life. Every difficulty brings her knowledge she didn't have before. There are moments when she wonders why life treated her so harshly, why she had to go through so much while others seemed to have it easier. But then she understands something deeper. Those hard times weren't meant to break her. They were meant to shape her. Without them, she wouldn't be who she is today. A strong woman doesn't hide from pain. She faces it directly. She lets herself cry, to mourn, to feel the loss. But she doesn't stay in that place. She lifts herself up again. And when she rises, she carries a strength that only life's harshest experiences can give. Her comeback becomes greater than her fall. Every woman who rebuilds herself returns more powerful, wiser, and more determined than ever. The world may expect her to stay down, but she proves the world wrong. She doesn't just recover what was taken. She creates something even better. She refuses to settle for the life she had before. She reaches higher. She becomes more confident, more focused, and more in control of her path. And when she looks back at everything she's been through, she sees how every painful moment was shaping her into the woman she was always meant to be. Her comeback isn't about showing others how strong she is. It's about proving to herself that she's capable, that she's enough, that no matter what happens, she can handle it. She doesn't let fear hold her back anymore. She knows what rock bottom feels like. And since she survived that, she believes she can survive anything. She moves with confidence. She enters rooms knowing she belongs there. She speaks with courage because she's lived through the worst and made it out stronger. She doesn't lower her standards. She doesn't shrink herself to make others feel better. She owns her power, her journey, and her strength. When a woman rebuilds herself, she becomes unstoppable. She no longer searches for someone to come and save her, because she already saved herself. She doesn't need anyone to tell her she matters, because she knows she does. She doesn't fear failure, because she has already made it through the worst. She becomes a force of nature. And when that happens, the world around her is never the same again. Pain changes people. It can either break them or help them grow. A strong woman knows this truth. She doesn't let pain crush her. She uses it to rise. She sees it not as punishment, but as part of the journey that makes her wiser, stronger, and more prepared for the future. Every failure, every heartbreak, every closed door becomes another chapter in her story. But she doesn't let those chapters define her in a bad way. She chooses to grow from them. She chooses to rise above them. And with every step forward, she becomes the woman she was always destined to be. There are times in life when everything seems to fall apart. The people she once trusted might let her down. The dreams she worked so hard to build might suddenly fall apart. The life she had imagined for herself might start to feel far away and unreachable. These moments are deeply painful, and they test her in ways she never expected. But even in the middle of all this, she does not let the pain break her spirit. She gives herself permission to grieve. She allows herself to feel all the emotions, to sit with the hurt, and to acknowledge the pain. But she doesn't stay stuck in that place. She slowly gathers her strength and chooses to move forward, even if it still hurts, even if she doesn't have it all figured out. She begins to understand that pain is not something to hate. It is something that teaches. It pushes her to reflect, to reassess, and to truly understand what matters most. She learns patience when life doesn't go as she had hoped. She learns resilience when she's knocked down, but somehow finds the strength to stand up again. She gains wisdom when she accepts that not every person is meant to stay in her story. Each moment of struggle is shaping her into a woman who's more aware, stronger, and better prepared for what's coming. Pain helps her grow in ways she never expected. It teaches her how to be independent because she realizes that no one else can truly heal her but herself. It shows her her true value because she learns that her worth isn't tied to who stays or who leaves. It strengthens her faith because sometimes when everything feels lost, the only thing she can do is believe that better days are ahead. There are days when she wonders why she had to go through so much. Why did her path seem harder while others had it easier? But then she sees it clearly. Her pain was never meant to harm her. It was meant to prepare her. Every heartbreak, every obstacle, every hard lesson was helping her build the strength and courage she would need for the future. She wouldn't be the woman she is today if life had been easy. She begins to welcome the lessons that come with hardship. She stops asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and instead starts asking, "What can I learn from this?" That small shift changes everything. She stops seeing herself as a victim of her situation and starts seeing herself as a student of life. Someone who is always growing, always learning, always improving. She begins to view each struggle as a chance to grow stronger, to become better. The pain of losing someone teaches her to cherish the people who are still in her life. The pain of being betrayed teaches her to be more careful with her heart. The pain of failure teaches her to keep trying, to never give up on herself. Every experience that hurt her carries a lesson, and she refuses to ignore those lessons. Instead, she uses what she's learned to build a life that is sturdier, more meaningful, and more full of purpose. There are still days when the pain feels too heavy. Days when she wonders if she has the strength to keep going. But then she remembers all the times she felt that same way before and still made it through. She remembers the nights she cried, thinking she would never heal, and yet now she's standing taller than she's ever stood before. She reminds herself that she has survived every hard day so far. She is still standing, and that means she's stronger than she thought. She refuses to let pain turn her into someone bitter. She knows that holding on to anger and resentment will only hold her back. So, she chooses to release the pain, not because it's easy, but because she's determined not to let what hurt her still have power over her. She chooses forgiveness, not because others always deserve it, but because she deserves peace. She moves forward, not because she's no longer hurting, but because she doesn't want to stay stuck in what broke her. she lets her pain become a part of her growth. Instead of letting it shut her down, she lets it show her how to love in a wiser way. Instead of letting it make her fearful of what's next, she lets it push her toward new possibilities. Instead of allowing pain to destroy her confidence, she lets it remind her of all the things she has already overcome. She's no longer the same woman she used to be. Too much has happened. Too much has changed. The pain she has faced has reshaped her, refined her, and made her more grounded than ever before. Now, she walks differently, with more strength, more purpose, and more calm. She speaks with greater understanding, more assurance, and a deep sense of self. She lives with more gratitude, more patience, and more joy. She knows now that life will never be free from pain, but she no longer fears it. She no longer sees challenges as things to avoid, but as things to learn from and grow through. She's no longer afraid of beginning again because she knows she's done it before and can do it again. She stands tall, not because her life has been easy, but because she's faced every battle and chose not to give up. She carries her scars not as signs of weakness, but as reminders that she survived. She is proof that pain doesn't have to destroy someone. It can rebuild them into someone stronger, wiser, and unstoppable. Every setback she has faced planted the seed for an even greater comeback. And now she's walking in that comeback stronger, smarter, and more beautiful in spirit than ever before. There are times in life when everything seems to fall apart. The people she trusted the most may turn their backs on her. The dreams she worked so hard for may suddenly collapse. The life she once pictured for herself might begin to feel far away and unreachable. These moments are painful. They test her in ways she never expected. But even though they hurt, she refuses to let them break her completely. She gives herself time to feel the sadness, to cry, and to admit that things didn't go the way she hoped. But she doesn't stay stuck in that place. She gathers her strength and chooses to keep moving forward, even when her heart still aches, even when the path ahead feels unclear. She comes to understand that pain is not her enemy. It's a teacher. It invites her to look inside herself, to slow down, to think about what really matters. It pushes her to reflect, to re-evaluate her values, her relationships, and her goals. She learns how to wait with patience when life doesn't unfold the way she planned. She discovers how strong she is each time she falls but finds a way to rise again. She gains wisdom when she realizes that not everyone is meant to stay in her life forever. Every painful moment shapes her into someone more grounded, more mature, and more ready for the future. Her pain leads her to grow in ways she never imagined. It teaches her how to rely on herself because she realizes no one else can do the deep healing work for her. It helps her see her true worth because she begins to understand that her value isn't tied to who loves her or who walks away. It builds her faith because sometimes when everything seems to be falling apart, the only thing left is the hope that something better lies ahead. There are moments when she asks why she had to experience so much heartache, why her path seemed harder than others. But with time, she sees that her pain wasn't there to destroy her. It was preparing her. Every struggle, every difficult season was building her for something greater. If life had always been easy, she wouldn't be the woman she is today. She learns to see every hard lesson as part of her journey. She stops asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and starts asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" That simple change in her thinking changes her life. Instead of seeing herself as someone who's been broken by her past, she begins to see herself as someone who's learning and growing through every challenge. She turns every obstacle into a stepping stone. The pain of losing someone teaches her to appreciate those who are still here. The pain of being betrayed teaches her to protect her peace and choose her circle carefully. The pain of failure teaches her to keep trying, to rise again, and to never give up. She refuses to let what she's been through go to waste. She takes every lesson and uses it to build a life that is stronger, more intentional, and filled with meaning. There are days when the weight of everything she's survived feels too heavy. There are days when she wonders if she has the strength to keep going. But then she remembers all those times she thought she couldn't make it. And yet she did. She remembers the nights she cried herself to sleep, convinced she'd never feel joy again, and yet she found reasons to smile. She reminds herself that she has survived every single one of her hardest days, and she's still standing. That means she's stronger than she ever knew. She doesn't allow pain to make her bitter. She understands that holding on to anger and resentment will only make her feel worse. So, she chooses to let go, not because it's easy, but because her peace matters more. She chooses to forgive, not because the people who hurt her deserve it, but because she deserves to be free. She chooses to move forward, not because she doesn't still feel the pain, but because she refuses to live in it forever. She lets the pain fuel her growth instead of holding her back. Instead of shutting her heart down, she lets pain teach her how to love more wisely. Instead of fearing the future, she lets pain give her the courage to believe in new beginnings. Instead of losing her confidence, she lets pain remind her of how much she's already overcome. She is not the same person she once was. Life has changed her too deeply. The pain has shaped her into someone stronger, someone more sure of herself, someone who moves through the world with greater care and confidence. She walks differently now, with more grace, more strength, and more purpose. She speaks differently now, with more truth, more calmness, and more certainty. She lives differently now, with more gratitude, more hope, and more strength. She no longer fears the pain that comes with life's challenges. She has stopped seeing struggles as something to avoid, and now sees them as moments that help her grow. She understands now that each challenge is a chance to rise. She is no longer afraid of starting again from the beginning, because she knows she has done it before. And she can do it again. She stands tall not because life has been easy, but because she has walked through the storms and didn't let them destroy her. She wears her scars not as signs of weakness, but as proof that she survived. Her story is living proof that pain doesn't have to crush your spirit. It can rebuild you into someone even more powerful. She is stronger because of it. She is wiser because of it. And she is more unstoppable than ever before. Every setback she faced carried within it the power to help her rise again. Every disappointment had something to teach her. And she learned, she grew, she transformed. And now, she moves forward not as a woman broken by her past, but as a woman rebuilt by it. She is not afraid of what lies ahead, because she trusts the strength she found within. Pain didn't ruin her, it revealed her. And now there's no stopping her.